The following is brought to you by San Mateo Credit Union.
Welcome to our show today, More Than Money. I'm Rosanne Foust, and I'll be your host. With us today, we have guests from the San Mateo Credit Union. And today, Michele Enriquez, who is the Business Development Manager with San Mateo Credit Union, is going to tell us about youth checking and savings. And you're going to tell us about requirements and all the specificity so we can help our youth.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for having me today.
Thanks for being here. So let's start with the first question. What are the requirements? What exactly does a student need?
So anybody can establish at any age a savings account with the credit union, but it's not until they're 16 where they can get their own checking account with a debit card. As far as the requirements go, one form of government ID is required for all accounts, and for those of us that aren't old enough to have a driver's license or an identification card, a copy of the birth certificate, copy of the social, or a passport is suffice. Now for our non-U.S. persons, those same requirements still ring true, but they just need to be from their country of origin.
Okay. And that's when they are 16?
Yes.
Yes. So then why is it important if once they've made the decision, brought in the appropriate identification, why is it important for a 16-year-old to have a checking or savings account?
I think there's many reasons, but we try and focus on three points in particular. The first being safety. We certainly don't encourage folks out there to house their funds at their residences, and then carrying cash and large amounts of cash definitely poses a safety concern, so safety is the first. The second and biggest benefit of having an account is for convenience purposes. So these days you can almost receive payroll overnight and make a purchase on your mobile phone in bed the next morning. So convenience is a huge benefit. So in terms of receiving funds, you have the ability with an account to receive payroll funds, you can get disability and Social Security funds, and then you can even get financial aid funds via online transactions with your account. And as far as spending, you have the ability with a debit card to make purchases online. And most merchants nowadays accept debit cards as a form of payment. So you almost don't have to visit a branch or get cash. So that convenience portion is big. Along with the convenience comes the ability to track your spending. So
Absolutely.
Nowadays with mobile banking, mobile apps and tablet apps, you have the ability to stay on top of your account and monitor your spending.
And that is really very critical. In a past show on More Than Money with San Mateo Credit Union, we talked about budgeting and savings, and this fits right into that philosophy. So Michele, as a business development officer with the credit union, can you help our audience understand why would you choose a credit union for establishing your first checking and savings account?
Well, I think whether or not to have an account and where to house your account is a personal decision. And choosing a credit union definitely benefits the consumer in that credit unions are not for profit. So at our institution, you may find a more favorable fee schedule, and you may find more favorable rates on loans and savings. But I think there is a lot of fear out there with choosing an institution in general, just because folks out there may not have that influence in their household, a parent or a guardian that has given them that information on how to use an account and where to get an account. So I think there's fear in deciding where and how to have an account, which account to choose. On top of that, I think there's a lot of lack of trust with financial institutions
Absolutely.
out there, especially in the economy that we're in. You hear about predatory lending in the news, so there's that lack of trust. And then I think there's also fear that one may be ineligible to have an account. So folks out there, and I've heard over the years that they believe they're ineligible because they don't have enough money to open an account, or their credit is not good enough to have an account. They're not from this country, so they cannot have an account. So I think those fears hinder folks out there from actually getting an account. But having an account at the San Mateo Credit Union helps kind of combat those fears with those ineligibility requirements.
It definitely does. And I think as we have touched on in the past, credit unions are known as the community's friend and a community member's source of information. You just have such a strong financial education program at the credit union for youth, for young adults, and for folks that are my age or really of any generation. So touch on a few other, when a student is going into obtaining a checking and savings account, what are some of the final reasons that they would look to a credit union?
We always try and stress the importance of having an account in general, just because at some point in your adult life, you are going to see the day-to-day conveniences of having an account. I work closely with the San Mateo Community Colleges District, and they are now strongly encouraging financial aid be direct deposited into an account. So as a student transitions, that is a huge convenience to have an account, to have those financial aid disbursements come through. Nowadays, a lot of scholarships that one may earn have to come through via way of checking account. So having that account, again, is important. And then just the day-to-day conveniences. Students are busy, so they're commuting back and forth. So having that convenience of using the account is absolutely crucial.
And the fact that it is safe, it is reliable, there's people that they can talk to. And when you say that you work with the community colleges, and I know you're also out there at our high schools and really engaging folks. You're at a number of community volunteer events. So what are, maybe just in closing before, because we're going to move to another segment of this, which will be at a local park. But tell us some questions that you've had when you've been at the community colleges or the high schools or the various volunteer events.
Yeah, a lot of the students especially have questions about credit and why they should even have a checking or savings account. And the single biggest thing I try to communicate is that at some point we want them to eventually need a line of credit. Maybe for their own business in the future. We hope that eventually they may want to borrow some money for their first car and eventually their first home. So having an account and establishing yourself with any financial institution is just absolutely essential to build for the future.
And I think establishing that credit history early and one that will benefit them later on, I mean, that is a message that you give to the students and to the community members.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited to go to our next segment because for this show, we haven't typically gone outside the studio. So your colleague, James Federighi, is going to be interviewing students. So stay tuned, folks. When More Than Money comes back, we're going to be at a local park with Michele Enriquez, who's the Business Development Officer's colleague, James Federighi at San Mateo Credit Union.
Peninsula TV is supported by San Mateo Credit Union. 60 years of experience providing financial services to the people of San Mateo County. Security, value, community, tradition. Where people are worth more than money. SMCU.org. SMCU.org.
Welcome back to our show today, More Than Money. I'm Rosanne Foust, and I'm your host. We are going to be heading off to a local San Mateo County community park to talk with James Federighi, who is a contact center advisor with the San Mateo Credit Union. Financing a college or university or after high school education today can be very challenging, very expensive, and you might not have all the information that you need. So James is going to be talking to local students and giving them more detailed information about how to finance their after high school education. So let's cut away to James.
Thanks, Rosanne. We're here in Central Park in San Mateo. Here with me, I have Gabe and Olivia, and we're going to talk to them today about their college dreams, their favorite subjects, and if they have any idea how to plan and pay for college. So thanks, guys, for being here today. Gabe, what is your favorite subject in school?
Well, I like math, and that's really about it.
Math, okay. Olivia, do you have a favorite subject?
Math.
Math? Okay, well, that's good. Both of you guys like math a lot. Do you have a dream job? And if so, what is your dream job?
Yes, I do. It's being in the MLB's baseball player.
Very nice. Do you have a certain position you want to try for?
First in outfield.
Awesome, awesome. And Olivia, how about you? Do you have a dream job at all?
The Army.
In the Army? Oh, okay, very nice. Well, that's some great jobs you guys have selected for yourselves. So have you guys thought of what it would cost to go to college? Have you guys thought about any numbers or anything? What do you think it would cost?
$2,000.
$2,000?
$400.
The cost per year to go to a UC is $12,192. So now that you know about how much it costs per year to go to school, what do you guys think about that? Do you guys think that's just outrageous, or do you think it's reasonable? What do you think about that?
A little too much.
A little too much? How about you, Olivia?
A little too much.
A little too much. All right. Well, that's I'd say you guys have a fair argument there. Well, thanks again for your time, Gabe and Olivia. It was very nice to meet you guys.
Very nice to meet you too.
Thanks very much, guys. We're here at Marjorie Tobias Elementary School in Daly City. We're going to be stopping into Miss Almeida's 5th grade class to talk to some students about what it means to be college ready.
Hi. Hey.
We're going to interview students now to find out what their dream jobs are. Have you guys thought about your dream jobs before? Do you have a dream job of yours that you'd like to meet?
A doctor, to be a baker, chemist, an author, and an animation movie maker. I think I want to be a zoologist. A baker. I'd like to be an NBA player or a zoologist. I want to be a police or a scientist.
I would like to be a musician.
I want to be a nurse like my mom.
I would like to be an NBA player or an electrician.
I want to be an engineer.
I would like to be a scientist or a zoologist.
To be a Nike apparel designer.
Open a nail business.
A martial arts instructor.
I would like to be a marine biologist and an author when I grow up.
I would like to be in the Army.
A lawyer and a president of the USA.
I would like to be in the Army.
I would be a sportscaster.
I would be a lawyer or a musician.
Be a veterinarian.
I would want to be a fashion designer or a cook.
A voice actress.
Do something with entertainment. I would want to be a doctor.
Now, do all of you know how to obtain your dream job? How would you go about getting your profession of your dreams? Does anybody have any idea of how they'd like to start or move forward to it?
I would like to go to Stanford and see if I can get like a marine degree.
How would you get into Stanford? Do you know what steps you would take to get in there by chance?
I'd have to get like really good grades and be like really astute and then I'd have to say, and I'm already saving up some money to go there.
I'd like to go to UC Berkeley. That college offers me both of my dream jobs, and to get there it wouldn't be too hard because my mom doesn't want me to stay too far away from home, unfortunately. But if I could do that, I'd like to go to Stanford as well.
My dream college would be SCAD, but I want to be a voice actress, so maybe like an acting college so I can get accustomed to doing different voices for characters.
Any of you thought about how to pay for school? Have anybody thought about, I know that Daphne had shared that she's saving, but there are other options and other ways. Do any of you know other ways of getting to pay for school and college and things like that?
You could get a job also.
Well, yes, definitely. You could definitely get a job to help pay.
You can go to an after-school job and like they might pay you some money and you can save that money up.
You could borrow some money from the bank, and then later on when you get a job, you could pay them back later.
Definitely. Other ways as well as applying for grants, school loans, things of that nature, similar to what Ivan has said, and of course getting a job to pay that back. Okay, class. Well, today we're going to do something fun. We're going to have a game show today. It's going to be very similar to The Price is Right. What we're going to be doing is playing a game called Mission Tuition. Tuition is the amount of money it costs to take classes at a college or university. Our goal is to guess how much 1 year of tuition is at a school like UC Davis or UCLA. We'll need one volunteer to come up and hold a bag that has 5 numbers in it. When they pull out the number, they'll have to guess where it goes in the blanks that we'll have written on the board. So if you could just come pick out of this bag over here, just one number. And what we'd like for you to do is just to place it somewhere along here where you think that number would go. So where would this one go? Where would you want to put it? Where? Right there? Okay. Okay, well, thank you very much, class. Thank you, Daphne. We'll have you pick another number, actually. Okay, class, so we have a 9. So where should we put the 9? Where should Daphne put the 9? Thousands? Everybody wants to go to thousands? Where would you like to go? The thousands, right here, okay. Okay, thank you very much, class. Daphne, if you could please continue. Another 1. Where would this 1 now go? Great job, everyone, because this is exactly the number we have, $12,192 per year to go to a UC in California. Thank you very much, class. Everybody did a wonderful job. The total cost to attend a UC could be up to $30,000, including your tuition and expenses. We're here with Mrs. Almeida at Marjorie Tobias Elementary School in Daly City. How did you go about financing your educational path?
Well, beginning in sophomore and junior year in high school, that's when students really start thinking about where they want to go for college and how they want to pay for it. And so our guidance counselors were really good about getting us to know about what the FAFSA is. And so I applied through the FAFSA to get grants and loans and work study and parent contribution. So that really helped me get funding from multiple sources for me to pay my college tuition.
Well, thank you very much, Mrs. Almeida, for your time.
And we're actually going to be bringing back in our third segment Jan Regala, who is a loan officer in the real estate department of San Mateo Credit Union. And we're going to go deeper into the financing of a student's education. So thank you again to James.
Since 1952, San Mateo Credit Union has been proud to help San Mateo County members and their families achieve their financial dreams. Our deep commitment to the community we serve includes offering a wide variety of financial education programs, like financial literacy workshops for youth, adults, and seniors, seminars about raising money-smart kids, identity theft prevention, and many more. For more information about San Mateo Credit Union, visit us at www.smcu.org.
Welcome to today's episode of More Than Money. With me, I have Jan Regala, who is a loan officer in the real estate department at San Mateo Credit Union. And we're going to be talking about college financial aid. Welcome, Jan.
Thank you for having me, Rosanne.
So it's great to see you. So I know that there's different types of higher education, and you're going to walk us through the different types. We're going to talk about the financial tools and how a representative like yourself can help students with college financial aid. So let's talk with a discussion on the 5 different types, and we have slides that'll help us.
Sure. Thank you, Rosanne. There are 5 different systems of higher education. We have community colleges, public universities such as CSUs and UCs, vocational schools, trade schools, and private schools. Let's start at looking at the tuition at the standard educational expense chart here. We actually have a comparison chart showing you that the cost for community colleges versus, for instance, a UC system is astounding. As you can see, the cost for tuition for a community college would be about $1,100 versus a UC school for about $13,200.
That's incredible. I mean, when you see that type of difference, how do you help children and young adults starting college really understand this?
Well, I believe that you would want to go into the FAFSA website first, and that's the free application for federal student aid, and it will show you all of the necessary requirements that you would need to apply for aid and for student loans and make the smart decision.
So if I was a student and I came in to see you, the first thing that I would go to would be the FAFSA website.
That is correct.
So let's walk us through what exactly FAFSA is. I mean, we can read that it's the free application for federal student aid, but tell us a little bit more about it, and what does a student need when they fill this out?
Well, when you fill out a FAFSA, you must keep in mind that it's a portal. So it's actually housing all of your information, your financial capacity, your parent contribution, and everything of that nature. Also, keep in mind that if you are a male who's applying for free federal student aid, that you must enlist in the Selective Service. Everybody who actually applies for a FAFSA must be a United States citizen or a resident and have a valid Social Security number. Those are things that you need to note.
Okay, and then we're going to talk a little bit about if you are not a permanent resident. We're going to
talk about that too. Okay. And go ahead.
No, let's get into, because we have the ABCs of the Cal Grant. So we have different types of financial aid. So I'm glad you're going to be covering those.
Yes. So Cal Grant A is actually for students who actually have a 3.0 GPA or higher and demonstrate a financial need. You also have to note that if you do apply for the Cal Grant A and you don't get accepted at a California State University or a UC system, that it's actually put on reserve for you until you transfer or intend to transfer to a UC system.
That's excellent for a student to know that if you do qualify, if you have the 3.0 and if you've met the requirements, that you can hold it.
Right.
That's great.
Yes. On Cal Grant B, you have to note that it's also for students with a 2.0 GPA or higher, and the difference is you would have to demonstrate a substantial financial need. So that's the difference from the Cal Grant B with the Cal Grant A. But it's also intended for students who want to enroll in a UC system later on, but is enrolled in an accredited two-year university or community college.
See, that's very helpful. And what's also helpful about our segment today is not only is this information available on the FAFSA website, but it's available through San Mateo Credit Union.
That's correct.
So,
you can actually look at that at the website, smcu.org.
Perfect.
On Cal Grant C, something to note also is that not all students would want to go and pursue a four-year university degree or go into a community college. If you wanted to go into a trade school, there's also some aid available for you. If you'd like to apply for that, that would be called a Cal Grant C.
That's excellent. I mean, because not every student is interested in a four-year university experience or college experience. So having that option to have federal financial aid for vocational schools, I mean, that's very critical. And again, they can talk to their representative.
And they can talk to a student counselor who would guide them through.
Great. So if we're moving on to some other different forms of financial aid, I'm excited to hear, and I think our audience would be, because college education and trade school education today doesn't come cheap.
Yes, it's very, very expensive, as I told you earlier. A lot of the students that I know that are going into college are very, very daunted by the fact that it's very, very expensive, and they're threatened with, how am I going to be paying for that? I mean, those are things that you need to factor in later on. But looking at what you want to do after getting out of high school also, and you don't have a permanent residency or you're not a citizen, California DREAM Act is an excellent, excellent option for you. If you've attended a California high school for 3 years and you've passed the GED, if you haven't attended high school, then you can enroll in an accredited community college and go through and funnel through your education through the California DREAM Act.
And then there's one very important point of the California DREAM Act, and it's about recognizing that you have such an opportunity here in the United States. And so what is the affidavit that you need to sign?
With the California DREAM Act, you would have to also have the intent of applying for citizenship at a later date, and that's going to be the clause that you would need to note. And also, Dreamers are also eligible to apply for the Cal Grant now. So that's an update.
Oh, that's excellent. Now, when did that come into?
It's very recently that it actually has been updated. And if you would want to know more about that, you can go to the FAFSA website also, which would give you some information about that.
Excellent. And these slides, after our segment today, the slides on this will be available at smcu.org.
That is correct.
Perfect.
That is correct.
So we have another tool, and this is one I know that there's a lot of sensitivity around with loans and what you're coming out of school with. So let's spend a few moments talking about this.
Okay, so it's very critical that when you finance your education, you are fully aware of what you're getting yourself into. The repayment part would be actually divided into subsidized and unsubsidized loans. Subsidized loans are loans that are actually not going to be incurring any kind of interest until after school. And unsubsidized loans would actually be the ones that would be incurring some charges at the point when you actually obtain them. So make sure that you actually look into your income ceiling requirements and what your family contribution will be to see what you would be able to be eligible for those loans.
That's very critical because you need to know the difference between subsidized, unsubsidized. And then the last one, this is something, there are scholarships out there for every organization. So tell us a little bit more about this.
Well, San Mateo Credit Union is a big proponent for education, and we do offer two $2,500 scholarships every year to high school seniors who are eligible. And you can apply for those scholarships on our website, which is listed on the slide, which is smcufinancialed.wordpress.com.
Great. And with the scholarships that you offer, I mean, that's another part of your community philanthropy in terms of recognizing how important education is.
That is correct.
So, Jan, in our last few moments, what are some of the key highlights that you want to leave our viewers with about college financial aid?
Well, college financial aid is very crucial for you and very critical for you to understand when you're getting yourself into some debt or some scholarships. You need to make the right choices, sit down with your parent, ask your friends, ask relatives who've been in college and see what their journey has been for them. And when you make that decision to get into any kind, whether it be a personal loan or a grant or scholarships, look into getting into college free first, which would be your scholarships, and try to get your grades up and just pursue your dreams.
I love that message. I mean, it's all about pursuing our dreams. And I think that you have really showed us the tools today that are available for students wanting to look at vocational schools, at colleges, at universities. Jan, I want to thank you for being with us today on More Than Money. Jan Regala with San Mateo Credit Union. Thank you.
Thank you.